This podcast is sponsored by Lucy and Yak, and I'm so excited to share their Indie Biz program with you. Running an independent business means making tough choices, and sustainable options aren't always the most affordable. That's why Lucy and Yak are offering 40% off their sustainably made workwear, including aprons, so you don't have to compromise. Sign up to Indie Biz, and not only will you get the discount, but you could also be featured across Lucy and Yak's channels, spotlighting your business. Plus, they've got exciting plans for 2025, including Indie Biz markets. Head to the Lucy and Yak website to apply and join the community. Have you ever spent hours creating the perfect Instagram post and got crickets? Same. Imagine this instead. A fashion brand sets up a What's Your Style personality quiz using Score app. Shoppers get personalised product recommendations and you get email sign-ups, warm leads and a few cheeky sales. You can even use Score app for product waitlists, competitions and so much more. It's the perfect lead generation tool for your fashion brand. So head to scoreapp.com/fashion and get an exclusive 50% off your first month with Score app, or use the code FASHION at the checkout. Okay, so today's guest is someone whose wardrobe I would happily steal, Emma from Whatemwore, founder of Good Basics Club. If you've ever thought about launching a fashion brand that feels timeless and cool, Em has done exactly that. What started as outfit posts and reflections on personal style has turned into a sellout brand with 2 million followers watching her every move. Not to make you nervous, right? So we're chatting about everything from that buzzy launch night to how she handles content, internal systems, and the pressure of growing a brand with an audience. And yes, we have some amazing listener questions as well. So thank you to everyone who sent those in. So, hi, Em.
Hello.
Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me on, and thank you for those very kind words.
My pleasure. And it's your first podcast, isn't it?
It is, yeah, my first podcast ever, so I'm a little bit nervous.
I feel very honoured. And we did some Taylor Swift style shaking beforehand.
We did.
Like, remove
Feeling
the
comfortable
nerves.
and calm and collected.
Yes, exactly. You'd never know. So let's start at the beginning. Where did the idea for the Good Basics Club come from?
Before I did influencing, I worked in finance, and I worked really long hours, and getting dressed in the morning just needed to be like really quick and easy, but I also just really wanted to feel put together and confident for my day. And I always used to find that I would struggle to find really well-fitting pairs of trousers. And if I ever did find well-fitting pairs of trousers, they wouldn't always come with just a really simple, timeless, clean, matching blazer. And my kind of dream back then was just to have a few of these kind of perfect matching suits that I could just mix and match, wear really interchangeably, create lots of different outfits with them, but it would just be super easy to get ready in the morning, no brain power, but I'd still have that like confidence and feel put together for my day. So that is really where the idea of Good Basics Club came from. And since then, obviously going self-employed, a little bit more casual, it's kind of broadened into the basic pieces that I think form like your core wardrobe basics. And yeah, that is kind of the idea for the brand. And I really, the kind of thought behind it is that I really just want it to help people get the most out of their wardrobe. I think it's so easy to kind of look at your wardrobe and feel maybe overwhelmed or feel like there's a wardrobe full of clothes there, but you just don't have anything to wear. And I think a lot of the time the reasons for that is maybe you're buying a lot of trend pieces and you don't have those basics there that mean when you do purchase those more trend elevated pieces, you know how to style them and you're getting the most out of them. Yeah, the dream is to just have basically a wardrobe that is just so easy. It makes getting dressed in the morning feel like a joy. And my vision for it is to be like a capsule wardrobe basics brand.
I love it. Yeah. And there is so many brands that really overcomplicate things as well. And it's especially if you don't have a fashion background, it's really tempting to like over design things. Did you ever feel that urge to be like, oh, I'm just going to add something else. I'm just going to add something else. When even though you know you want it to be basic, it's really hard not to add those little things on.
Totally. And I think that was one of the things for me is like the name. And I did get some kind of mixed feedback on the name when I like told people originally. But a big reason for naming it that is because I wanted the brand to be really clear, like the purpose to be really clear. And so when I'm ever thinking of adding a product, I'm really thinking about, is it a good basic, and am I going to be able to style it multiple different ways? If yes, then it fits with the brand, and if no, then it's not something that I should be designing and bringing out.
Yeah, that's so important. And very impressive, actually. Right from the offset, you've got this very, very clear vision. So let's chat about launch night. Give us a debrief of what happened on launch night.
It was amazing. I went in with zero expectation. And I think with anything like that, where it's a step outside your comfort zone, you have to have like no expectations. But I think I believed in the brand concept, and I feel like I brought it to life to the best of my ability. Like, it was how I imagined it, and I just really hoped that it kind of resonated with my community, and luckily it did. And I will never get over the support that I had from my community and from my family and friends as well. Like, it was unbelievable. And yeah, it was beyond my expectations, and yeah, super exciting, but also like really hard work. We were picking and packing all of the orders, making sure everything's perfect. And when you've got no experience of that, it's obviously very slow at first. So I think by like midnight we've got through like 10 orders. So there was a lot of work.
You started packing on launch night?
Immediately. Oh my God. We popped some champagne for like 2 minutes, and my dad was just sat at his laptop like, guys, no, like there is work to do here.
Champagne.
We were laughing at him because he was running around like he worked in an Amazon warehouse or something. But then it suddenly dawned on us like, no, there's a lot to do here.
Yeah. How did you have the Shopify pings going on?
Yeah,
like,
we did.
You've got to have the sound turned on,
and like
you?
the map and everything. It was really exciting. Always looking at all of that, and yeah, we were all really excited.
Yeah, and for anyone listening, this is not a plug for Shopify, like an affiliate, but it really is the best platform when you're starting out. Like, it gives you so much data and so much information, and just makes it so easy as well. So yeah, if you're not on Shopify,
totally, yeah, we definitely found that.
Yeah. And so did it come with like an extra pressure that there were so many people watching your launch night? Because usually when people start a brand, it's like no one's really watching anyway. So you can have a few mistakes. And obviously there was the Molly May situation that had happened with her blazer not long before. Like, did any of that kind of get into your head that there are other pressures that you would face from having an audience already?
I think yes and no. I feel like my headline following is obviously a really big number, which is incredible. But I feel like my true community has always been a lot smaller than that. And I think especially like having set up the Instagram a little bit in advance of the launch, like it was very transparent and obvious to my like community that it was a small brand. I was learning as I go. I was a startup. It was me, my dad, and we were bringing something out. I wasn't trying to paint a picture of this being like a perfectly polished brand. And I'm so grateful that people like still saw that and still trusted me to make a purchase. But yeah, I didn't really feel the pressure of 1.9 million people. It was
when you say it out loud. Yeah. And so you mentioned there that you started your Instagram before. What was your approach to building an audience on the Good Basics Club page before you launched? So you knew that you had to get an audience over there as well. It is something that a lot of people kind of neglect, is that they really, really focus on the product and then they've got nobody to sell it to at the other end of it. So yeah, talk us through what you did on that side.
It's interesting actually, because I actually pivoted my whole strategy. I wanted to have the community day and the community shoot day, which I am so glad I did. And that was like the first time the brand actually started to feel real. And it was amazing to actually see real people in the clothes, and like for them to look amazing. That was incredible. And the content that we got from that day, like, really was like the core essence of the brand, and like the thing that I was most proud of that like I kind of brought to life. The kind of original plan for like the launch build up was to bring out this content that was quite like polished, a little bit like interview style of me explaining to my community the kind of messaging behind the brand. And I posted, the first video that I posted about the brand was kind of in this new polished style that I'd never really tried before. And I won't say it was a flop, but I don't think it really like hit the mark.
Okay.
And the plan was then to post like the full version of this kind of interview polished setup. And I actually just thought, no, like this isn't right. I need to go back to what feels really natural and authentic to me, what resonates with my audience. And I just went back to filming it in my usual setup at home. And yeah, I think I did. I filmed a reel at home in my usual setup that kind of went into the community shots and like brought it to life that way. But originally it was like the very start, it was just my usual that everyone was used to.
Yeah. And then so there's that consistency across the two. Yeah.
And then I think I just sat down in my usual space where I do my mirror selfies in the morning and just told people what the brand was and just explained. And I think that just hit a lot better than, you know, feeling like you have to come out with this like more elevated, polished thing that sometimes people just are a bit confused or like they don't recognize it as you. So yeah, that pivot was like hugely important. And I'm so glad I did that. I think the launch went really successfully because I made that change.
Yeah. That's, and what, have you still got all of the content?
Yeah, I have.
Still like sitting in a little graveyard.
Yeah, it is a little bit. And it might have a use one day, but I just think people just want to hear you say it in your natural environment, explain the reason and the purpose behind the brand. And I think that is what hit the best.
Yeah, 100%. And so we've got some questions then around like the design process. The first question is from Ade at Zulfa London. And she has said, how do you approach sampling and decision making when you're designing your new pieces?
I think it just goes back to what I was saying a bit before about the brand name. Like that really keeps me focused. And when I'm trying on a sample, I'm really thinking like, is this a piece that I'm excited to wear, that I see myself constantly repeat wearing, that I can style multiple different ways? If yes, then let's place an order. If no, then back to the drawing board. I probably don't see GBC bringing out like the latest trending item, but we really will bring out great basics and we'll show you how to style them. And that's one thing about GBC that I really want to be like a point of difference is I think it's a shame that when you buy an item, you're never really inspired or showed how to style that item again versus just the photo that you saw on the website that one time or the mannequin in the store. And if you go on GBC's website, you will see for each item, it's styled multiple different ways on there already. And my plan is to keep refreshing that website imagery and show how the community's styling it and really, just kind of inspire people to repeat wear the items and get the most out of their wardrobe, really.
Yeah, that's so interesting. I never really thought of that. That it just gives you that one image on one body type as well.
Exactly.
And then you're kind of left to your own devices.
Totally. And that's the thing that for me is like, it's just something that's just the way it's done and it just confuses me. Like, why is that?
And that's what people come to you for as well, isn't it? Pretty much, it is styling advice. So it makes sense to ride off the back of that. And even other girls that I've ever worked with, it's interesting that they always lead with what they're good at. So say I've worked with like an art director and all her imagery was very amazing. Wow. And then I've worked with somebody who's got like a manufacturing background and all the products really amazing. And so yours is going to be like styling and all the styling is going to be amazing.
I hope so.
Yeah. And it will show people that it is for a long amount of time and like there are different ways to wear it throughout the year. And some people really do need that encouragement. Like something that comes so naturally to you doesn't always come that naturally to other people. So
I think we all do to some extent. It's really easy to just feel uninspired by what you've already got and just think you need new in constantly. And I just really see the website being a place that people can go to for inspiration. And I want to have like the community styled by on there and not just come into the website for new in.
Yeah. And what's been your biggest learning when it comes to product development through to the launch? Because coming from a finance background, it must have been a little bit of a learning curve, shall we say, to like jump into the world of manufacturing. Yeah, it has. I hadn't even thought about the finance side of things, but that was a learning curve. I think all of the minimum order quantities and all of that kind of thing is, it's a lot to wrap your head around. And I think the startup costs as well, they're a lot. Yes.
So definitely think finance-wise there was a lot of learning curves there. Probably the marketing point that I mentioned earlier, just on the like stick to what you're good at, what you feels natural and authentic to you. Don't feel like you need to change anything. And then also just like not sitting too long on decisions. I think in the 3 years that I was sampling the blazer and the trousers, I think I definitely could have moved faster. And I think I don't know if that was lack of self-belief or just not thinking I could figure things out, but you can figure things out, and you just got to ask the right people for help. And I think it's just important to keep moving forward and just like really learn as you go.
Yeah, the quicker decision making you have, the quicker you can grow.
Yes.
And that is such an important point for people listening, is that I have seen brands kind of wait almost too long and then spend too much money on development, like trying to make it perfect, when actually it's kind of a form of procrastination just from putting it out there, because you really don't know if it's going to sell until you start selling it.
It's so true. And I think like even some of the things that I thought would be the best sellers maybe weren't as much as other pieces, and you learn from your customer immediately as soon as you start. So the quicker you can get to that point. Yeah.
I tell you what, was the community day that you did and your sales comparable? Like what they all loved, is that what sold?
Yeah, I would say it was actually. The blazer and the trousers, they really loved that, and the cardigans. And I think it was things like some of the like ribbed racernette tops and things, and the caps. We didn't really show much of the caps. The caps have been, no one wants a cap. But I think that in itself is a learning curve though, because until you have an established brand, why would someone buy a cap with your name on it? Like now I look back and I'm like, that was crazy.
I know,
to bring out a cap this early, but it's good for marketing, and I'll use it for gifting and things. But
shoots.
I think seeing the items that they gravitated towards on the shoot day definitely then went on to reflect kind of sales and things as well.
Yeah. When it comes to content pillars, I'd say that is something that people really struggle with their content generally, actually, not even necessarily just fit. It's like a hungry monster that never gets full. You've got to create content every single day for the brand. So what is your content strategy for Good Basics Club, and how do you intend to kind of stay consistent online?
Yeah, I think it's difficult because it does feel very different to like what I'm doing over on Whatemwore, but also really like nice and refreshing in a sense that like it's a smaller community, and I feel like I can just like try different things. And I've even been posting kind of more face to camera style stuff, just like updating people, which I probably would never post on Whatemwore, but that I'm quite enjoying just like mixing that up. In terms of content pillars, I think I definitely the name Good Basics was because of my styling series that I had on Whatemwore, where I used to style one piece multiple different ways. And my kind of vision was to have the brand and then be able to style the brand's items multiple different ways. So I'm definitely going to be bringing the Good Basics styling series over to the Good Basics Club page now.
Yeah.
And and then a huge part is the community. So I really want to do maybe like a styled by the community weekly series, if we can get enough content. But yeah, that's huge. And yeah, I think just like more kind of off the cuff content, like today, bringing people along with this. I just really want to share like the journey of it, really. I'm learning as I go, and maybe people are interested to see that.
People would definitely be interested to see that, yeah. I mean, going back to Molly May, like she made a whole Amazon documentary about it. So like, I'm sure people want to see behind the scenes, no problem. And I know that when I get stuck with content, I will always go back to just documenting what I'm doing, because people are so nosy. That's all anyone wants to know, is like what's happening behind the scenes. And as a general content pillar, you might write, on Wednesday I'll talk about behind the scenes, but actually there's like all different little pillars within that as well, like behind the scenes of a shoot, or behind the scenes of you designing something, or going to an event, or planning your next launch, whatever it might be. There's so much to talk about, and remembering that 95% of the UK at least don't even run their own business, and so what you're doing is really interesting to a lot of people when they are getting on with their regular day jobs, and you're kind of like living the dream of other people. So
yeah, so true. And it's really interesting, isn't it? Because I think as a creator, you always think, oh, someone wouldn't be interested in this, but then as a consumer, like you're so interested in like it's a really interesting dynamic.
Yeah, I always assume people are interested.
Yeah, that's
100%.
a good motto to have.
Yeah, like do not assume that nobody's going to be interested. So how do you in your mind, you said the content is very different from the brand to your page. How are you finding balancing having 2 pages? Because probably one page is pretty much a full-time job in itself. So yeah, how are you finding balancing the 2?
I'd definitely say it is harder than maybe I imagined it would be initially. I think more so on Good Basics Club, just because we kind of sold out of most of the pieces, so it's been difficult to kind of keep momentum and content up over there without boring people or, you know, annoying people if you keep showing an item that's not in stock. So I think getting that balance is quite good. But then on Whatemwore, it's just trying to find the right split really. And on Whatemwore, I'm really just trying to like mix it up and show a bit more like what M actually wore and just try and experiment. I think more than ever on Instagram, people are being rewarded for creativity. And if you can have like a different idea, I think you should try new things. And that's basically what I'm trying to do over there.
Yeah. And whilst we're on Instagram then, are you on TikTok as well?
I am on TikTok, but I wouldn't say it's like a primary platform for me. I'd probably just post things that maybe I wouldn't post on Instagram. I'm a bit more like chilled about what goes out on TikTok. So it's a bit more of an experimental platform, I feel like, over there. But I know that the people that have like a really good TikTok strategy do really well, but there's obviously pros and cons to that as well. There's kind of seems to be two sides to TikTok.
There is. I have seen there is 2 sides. And so people who are listening who have a brand, and you mentioned there, you know, that at the moment there isn't a lot to sell. For anyone listening who hasn't got anything new to talk about or maybe is pre-launch, what advice would you give them of how to keep on talking? So you said, you know, I have been still posting on there. What advice would you give to people that don't necessarily have something to sell?
I think a lot of content that people resonate with outside of product is kind of storytelling content. So I've just done recently like 10 things that I've loved since starting Good Basics Club, and it's like in the nice handwriting and it's all so just different like photos of it. And then I did 10 things that I found challenging, and I think people quite like to see that, you know, the more honest, raw behind the scenes. So I think things like that are great to do. I'm going to bring anything that you are like doing that's like good to talk about, and people I guess will be interested, but they're probably interested in everything.
Yes.
But like I'm definitely telling people about today. I'll be posting about the podcast and the LTK event tomorrow that I'm going to. I'll be bringing them to that as well. And I just think it's anything that you can just make a content moment out of whatever it is you're working on or doing.
Yeah, everything is content.
Yeah, it really is.
I remember hearing it before. It's like you're basically creating your own reality TV series.
Yeah.
And so if you think about the Kardashians, like nothing's really off limits. But then also you've got to think about, if that is the case, then putting out in your boundaries of what you are prepared to share and what you're not prepared to share. So I know personally, I'll say that I live in the countryside, but I won't really say like exactly where I live. Or, you know, I got a boyfriend, but you'll never see him on there. And, you know, I don't really share the inside of my house. So what would you say is like off limits for you, if anything?
Oh, that's really hard. I don't really, I just think I've kept my content quite focused on fashion, and it does go into other areas. Like I share a little bit of my personal life and my family and my running and my partner, but I wouldn't say I really go in too much on that. I just think I have a natural boundary that I've just found through doing this for so many years now, and it's just what works for me. I try to like every time I go on my stories to like connect with my community. I love doing that, and I think it's really nice, but I'm always trying to think like, is this adding value to people that are watching it? I just think I don't need to go on and just complain about something or just be like this random story. Like I always just try to, you know, I'll hope that, you know, whether you're talking about a new product or a new outfit or just something that happened that's worth sharing in your day. I think that's really nice, but I just try to keep it quite focused and
and light and positive.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, I would say your page is like a light, nice, positive space to come to.
That's what I want it to be.
Yeah, good. You have achieved it. Okay, so let's talk about your team then. Who's helping you behind the scenes? Because obviously you are the face of the brand. What does your team look like behind the scenes?
My mum and dad have been absolutely instrumental in the brand. Like I could not thank them enough for like the help they've given me. Like, it's been incredible. They have been like, since the 2 weeks after launch, they have been like running the day-to-day, like picking and packing orders and dealing with like returns and things. So couldn't have done it without them. But as of today, we have actually moved to like a third-party warehouse fulfillment center. So touch wood, if everything goes smoothly, everything should be handled by them in terms of shipping out orders and things, which will be amazing and relieve just like a lot of the kind of pressure of that side of things. So yeah, team wise, it's me and then Grace and my management team, which really helped me on the kind of Whatemwore side. But Good Basics Club wise, mainly just me.
Me and myself in my bedroom.
Yeah.
And so what do you think is going to be the first hire that you make?
It's really interesting because when I say that, I am really enjoying just learning across all areas at the moment. And I'm really actually glad that we did pick and pack the orders from home first, because it really like gave me an understanding of just like all of that aspect of things. And then when I was like looking at quotes for warehouse, I could like understand them, you know, like the price for the first pick and the second and all of that. Like, it's just been great to kind of just see different things and learn. So in terms of first hire, I think it would probably need to just be someone who would just like get stuck in across like everything again, really.
Like a studio assistant, brand assistant kind of thing.
Yeah, totally. So yeah, I'm not really sure exactly what that looks like or when that would be, but we'll see how it goes.
I think that's a really good point that you made there about doing something yourself before outsourcing it, because it's so tempting to outsource the thing that you don't know anything about.
Totally.
But then, you know, that could be with Facebook ads, for example, like, oh, I'll just outsource that, or even content creation, social media, I'll outsource it. But really, it's just going to cause you a whole other headache, because you're going to be paying for something that you don't really know what you're paying for. So that would go for everything that you do really from now on. It's like, give it a go yourself.
Yeah.
Try and learn as much as you can,
Totally.
and then get to a point, because, you know, going back to the Facebook ads example, or meta ads as they are called now, is really being able to communicate with somebody about what it is that they're doing, or email marketing, being able to have that back and forth conversation between you and somebody, even if it is freelance. It's just, you're going to get so much more out of it versus kind of just saying, you do that. I don't know what I'm doing.
Totally. And I think Facebook ads and email marketing are two areas that I really like want to, as a next step, understand and like move forward with. But yeah, I don't know anything about them really. So I want to learn that. And I feel like that's like this, having the brand is like a passion project for me, in the sense of like, I really want to grow and learn new things. And like, yeah, there are areas that I know nothing about. So I'm excited to learn.
And not be so reliant on Instagram as well, because it is a very good platform. Don't get me wrong. I mean, it's free and it gets you out to thousands and thousands of people. But equally, you're not really in control of it. You don't own that audience. And so we need to, But I do remember before launch, you were very good at getting people's email addresses, because you had that landing page, didn't you, that you were sending people to before. Well done to you. Yes, that will serve you well in the long run, I promise. And so with your 3PL, your logistics solutions, what was the decision making around that made you decide to go for the person that you did?
All of them were really, really good options. I think ultimately it came down to just like the people. Like, I just felt safe with these people, and I felt like I could like trust them. Not to say that I didn't feel like that with the others, but I think you just get a feeling from people sometimes, don't you? And I'd say a big thing for me is with clothing and returns. If I receive a return back, I want to re-steam the garment, put it back perfectly back in the packaging. And I don't think that was a service that was like offered by all of them. And it was really important to me. Like, I want, if anyone's receiving a return, it needs to be perfect, as if it was brand new. So yeah, it needs steaming. It needs to look pristine. So.
Yes. When I spoke to you before this, we had like a little chat on Zoom beforehand. You said that you didn't want to make any like big decisions until you started getting feedback from people about like receiving the garments in their hands, and kind of messages and feedback online. What has the feedback been since we had that conversation, and have you made any decisions off the back of it?
The really positive feedback I've had, actually. I'd say the one area that I knew going into it was going to be like a difficult thing to provide from the off is trouser leg length. Like that is just so hard to get right. And I think it's difficult for me as well because I'm 5'7", so I kind of need a pair of trousers that work for me and that I can advertise, because if I can't wear them, how can I like show people how to style them if they're too short? But then I know that I'm kind of taller than average, so then it's really difficult to bring out a pair of trousers that kind of, you know, works for every leg length basically. But that is on the map, the roadmap, I hope anyway. Like, I hope we get there, but it's on the roadmap to have like a petite, tall, regular. Like I would love that, and full size range, of course. So yeah, that's the one area where I feel like we need to do better. But no, other than that, like the thing that I was really wanting to take away from waiting for that returns window is just to understand, just to get feedback on the fit and the sizing, and also to understand what are the pieces that people like really loved or like came back for. I had a lot of people, we did a main launch, and then we'd held back 10% of the stock, so we did a smaller 10% launch of the remaining stock. And it was really interesting to see people like purchase one colorway and then come back for the other, and that really gave me reassurance that like people are like really loving these, and like this fit is right, this material's right. And I have really tried to double down on that going forwards for the restock, which is coming soon. So yeah, I'm really happy with like our ribbed vest material. Like that is coming back. We're doing it in more colors, and yeah, I'm really, really excited for that. I'm actually making a few changes in terms of like styles that I want to bring out and stuff, and just making that it's got a bit more versatility for like evening wear. And I feel like that was like kind of what we were missing, like day to night.
That would be cool. And especially kind of coming into later in the year, that's obviously what people start shopping for as well. And I saw on one of your carousels that you did that one thing that you realized since launching was how long it takes to from the point of designing something or even repeating something to then get it back in stock. Is that something that has been tricky to help you maintain momentum post-launch?
I think definitely, yes. It was a decision to wait for the full returns window to kind of make more decisions on that. And I kind of stand by that. I think for the first launch, I need to get that feedback. So yeah, it has been difficult to keep momentum. And I think when I spoke to you last time, I was maybe saying, you know, at launch, maybe I could have held back a few different colors of certain styles and then, you know, had a bit more of an incremental drop. But I think I could have done that. Maybe that would have been more successful. But I think it was really important for me at launch to show the kind of interchangeability of the items and
the whole point,
capsule wardrobe messaging. So we did need different colours and styles. So I think I did, as I said before, this is a passion project, and it's something I feel really passionately about, and I don't want to rush decisions or the important decisions. So bring out products that don't fit with the brand messaging, that I don't think we can style multiple different ways, and that I don't love. So I'm not kind of in a rush. I would love to keep momentum up. I know that it's probably a bit boring and annoying, but we'll get there. And I think everything's a learning curve. Now I know that you have to work so much further ahead to kind of be in line with the seasons. But again, the kind of messaging of the brand is that these are timeless, seasonless basics.
Right off the bat. It was never meant to be in the season anyway. Okay, so then bearing that in mind, what are your next steps?
So yeah, definitely want to be bringing out new products and restocking, which is hopefully coming very soon. But the main next step is to have a community in-person event. This is what I really want to do, just to celebrate the launch. And I kind of want to tie that in with the new products arriving, or at least be able to have the samples there so people could try on some of the pieces and things and get feedback. I think that would be a really nice thing to do. And
definitely,
I really just I want to give everyone a free cap and have a little run club, coffee morning, and just chat. Because I really the club element of the brand is all about the community, and I really want to have community input way earlier in product development and things. And I've shown a few little sneak peeks of samples, and that's been really valuable to get immediate feedback there and then. Rather than bring something out and not be sure if it's what people want, I'd just rather know like way earlier.
Yeah. And getting the feedback pre-launch, because you have the ability to do that with the audience. And even things with like stories, broadcast channels, close friends lists. So it's not even like you have to show everybody. You just need to show a select few, that, especially if you know from that community event that it was a good gauge of what sold in the end.
Definitely.
You just need like a cross-section of people to...
and I'm always open to suggestions as well. Like, I really want this brand to be like creating the basics that people feel are missing from their wardrobes right now, to create the outfits that they want to wear. And like, that is the core. It's all about the community. And I wouldn't be, and it sounds so cringy, but like, I really wouldn't be in a position to do this. I've wanted to have a fashion brand for the longest time, and I wouldn't be able to be in a position to do it without my community. So it really is all about them. And
How long have you wanted to have a brand for then?
I would say probably like since I was a child, but I think it's something that I never thought ever would be achievable. And I think that's maybe why I never really spoke about it. Or I've loved clothes since I was so young. And like growing up, people would always be asking me like, where's your outfit from? Where's your outfit from? But I went down the academic kind of maths route just because that was what I was good at, and that's kind of where I was like directed. But I loved fashion, and I just, I would have always, I think in another life I would have done like fashion buying and that kind of thing, and maybe eventually had a brand. But I've kind of ended up, I feel like, where I'm supposed to be, which is really, really nice, and I feel really grateful.
The amount of people that say that to me, that say they studied the thing that they should study, you know, in inverted commas, and then come back to fashion. It's like it never really leaves you. Like, it doesn't leave you alone. It's like, come on, it's time to go now. It's time to go now.
So true.
Yeah. Did you used to sit at your desk like doing finance, like thinking about fashion?
Yeah, I worked in investment banking, which is a super interesting job because you get to speak to entrepreneurs and founders like every day, and you get to hear their story. And I just absolutely loved like hearing about how someone had an idea and kind of brought it to life. And I really pushed to be in like the consumer team. So I was working with kind of fashion and beauty businesses, and that was so inspiring. And then Instagram kind of took off. And I think when I did leave my full-time job, at that point, I was like, I'm leaving this job to start a brand. That was always like what I wanted to do with it.
And
it's just taken me a while to get there. Better late than never.
And what is that phrase that's like, you are where you're meant to be kind of thing? You know, it's come at the right time.
I think so, I think... I got to the start of 2025 and I was like, it's now or never. Like, we have to take some... I think I was just kind of like procrastinating, like you said. I don't know if that's like a lack of self-belief or like... I just, at the start of the year, I just booked the community shoot day. I had a target launch date and I just worked towards them. And I think that's what you just need in the end to actually just get to zero, basically.
You kind of get fed up of yourself saying that you're going to do it
next year. It was always spring. I was always launching in spring, and I think 3 springs went past. And my mum's like, are you sure?
It's got to be now. We can't do this any longer.
I know.
Okay, cool. So we're going to have a little quick fire round now. So number 1 is, who would your dream collab be with? And it could be a person or a brand.
This is really cringe, but it's genuinely just like my community. Like, I absolutely love seeing them and how they style it. Like, there's no better feeling, or how you feel more proud, is to see other people wearing your clothes and love them. And I think maybe very, 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 very far in the future, maybe Kate Middleton. Not a collab. I know she wouldn't do a collab, but like, I'd love to send her some basics. Surely she needs basics too.
A top tip for you with Kate Middleton, she buys all her clothes.
Does she?
Yeah, so she won't accept gifting. So your goal is to get her to buy something, not to get her to wear something. Is. Yes, Get in front of her. I just think
she just always looks so put together but effortless at the same time, and like, that's really kind of what I want to create.
I could totally see her wearing it. The whole outfit. I can see it now. And what's one thing that you wish more fashion founders knew?
I feel like I'm maybe not best positioned to answer that. I've only been going 2 months, so
it's very fresh in your mind.
I think I would say definitely the marketing point that I said earlier, but more so on that, just in terms of like, I think you can feel the pressure to spend lots of money on like a professional photo shoot, a studio, makeup artists, all of that kind of thing, which is obviously really high expense. And I just think sometimes that's not even necessarily the content that really resonates the most and gets the brand messaging across the most. And I just encourage people to kind of go with what feels like most natural and authentic to them in terms of launching.
Yeah, that's very practical. I'm sure lots of people will interpret that in different ways, but like the right way. And what is a fashion trend that you'll never, ever, ever get on board with?
I don't even know if they're in fashion or they've ever been in fashion, but Crocs. I will just never wear Crocs.
I could not imagine you in Crocs.
It's not going to happen.
No, I mean, I bought some once and then returned them the same day because they were not for me either. So thank you so much, Em, for being here. It's been so much fun. It's been very refreshing to hear about how you built something on your own terms at the right time as well. So if you love this chat, please go check out Whatemwore and the Good Basics Club, but be warned, the pieces will sell out if you are not quick. And if this episode resonated with you, I'd be so grateful if you could rate, review, subscribe. It really helps more fashion founders find the podcast, and I'll see you next week.
Thank you so much for having me. Really appreciate it.
Fashion founders, let's talk about something your brand can't exist without. Words. You already know your designs are incredible and your vision is clear, but something is missing. If you're feeling invisible in the fashion world, struggling to sound consistent across platforms, or feeling fed up not knowing what to say in your marketing, then you need The Visionary, the ultimate brand voice masterclass by Studio C. Led by Studio C founder Charlotte Ferris, this on-demand masterclass harnesses a decade of experience to guide you through all things brand voice so you can shape your signature sound and transform casual followers into loyal customers. What you say and how you say it is infinitely powerful. Mastering your brand voice isn't just about writing better, it's about building a voice that's unmistakably yours, one that speaks authentically and connects you endlessly to your dream customers. I know firsthand how fundamental finding your brand voice is, which is why I worked with Studio C to write the copy for my website back when I first became a fashion brand consultant. So if you're ready to make your fashion brand stand out, head to studioc.uk today to join The Visionary, the ultimate brand voice masterclass, and get ready for your brand to break through the noise.